Hello, everybody. It is Red Ranger Robin. I'm back. It's been a while since I've been doing reviews, but I am back, hopefully better than ever now. Um, it's been a long time coming since we've had a boxing game decently. And I've been long awaited this game, Undisputed, for probably since 3 years ago when it was announced. And finally this weekend we got a beta on it. So, this is just my review on the beta. So just to be clear, this is just a review on the open beta that happened this past weekend, November 4th, 5th, and 6th. It's not a final product review, but just want to keep that clear. This is not my final thoughts on the game. It's still in production. So, as a boxing enthusiast and as a boxer myself, I was happy 3 years ago when Steel City Interactive released a generic trailer at E3 with a fighter approaching the ring, and I thought, finally, a new boxing game. Time went by. We had seen a little updates for about 2 years. We then got very small updates as far as things go, and then in the summer of 2021 we had fighter showcases with a lot of big names such as like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Vinny Pazienza, etc. And my thoughts were then, okay, this is real. This is very real, and this is a good game to get excited about. Well, into the new year 2022, we started getting a little peeks of gameplay, which was nice to see. And it wasn't probably until about the last month and a half, I would say, that we started getting updates every day of renders, little clips of gameplay, like renders of fighters, which made myself and other members of the community very, very happy. So we were all waiting on early access, but Steel City surprised us with an announcement of an open beta to take place on November 4th, 5th, and 6th. So to my excitement, I jumped at the chance to sign up for the open beta through Steam, and this is my review of day by day. So day one approaches, Friday, November 4th. Getting logged into the game was no problem, but right away you could tell there was problems with the servers. There was severe lag, especially on my location of Canada. I could kind of tell right away from the main menu though there was going to be some lag as it was already occurring, just in the menus. I got into a fight right away, but there was severe lag, not only with the fighters, but with the background as well. Almost to the point where the game was unplayable. I didn't have any issues finding a match that night, which was a big complaint from a lot of people that I had seen. The lag got worse, though, as the night went on. As more people were added, the lag and servers just got worse, unfortunately. So I stopped playing around 7 o'clock Eastern time. No, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, so 7 o'clock Atlantic Standard Time where I live. So because the lag was so bad, it was unplayable. Like, I couldn't even complete a single round, and was constantly losing connection to the fight because of servers, or I was spending a lot of time in the matchmaking after a while. So intermission, throughout the day of November 5th, prior to the second day, I was hoping the servers would be better and discussing things with some friends I made through the Discord, like study, better thoughts than the first night on the servers were being bad. Day two, November 5th, came along. This was the most successful day for myself anyway. I found myself completing fights, having a good time. The leg was still there a tiny bit. The footwork and movement felt nice though. I felt myself at a disadvantage when my opponent was using their loose footwork movement though. It seemed like there was no disadvantage for the opponent, for my opponent, but my disadvantage was that I could not catch my opponent, so I had to match them when they were using the loose footwork. I had to use it. The punches felt smooth though. The hooks felt nice to land, but there was like too much spamming of it. Not like spamming, but like it felt like I got caught in a hook slugfest. But I fought like a boxer. I felt like how I fight. I utilized the jab to set up combos, which felt smooth and natural. It was how I beat a lot of my opponents, was setting up combos with the jab and mixing up from going to the head to the body. And I loved working off the ankles and setting up combos. The way the movement felt nice, and setting up the combos and punches felt nice and smooth. I feel like the uppercuts could use some work, however. Like, they were harder to land. I felt like you had to really be on the inside to get them. You couldn't really do it too much if you're on the outside, but if you did land on the outside, you were lucky to. So those could use some work. The one thing I was hopeful for that does need some work is the bobbing and weaving as well. I felt like I could never dodge the hook, but I could get out of the way from some of the straights easily just by leaning back. How I got away from the hooks, like with bobbing and weaving, was just by using the angles, circling around. So there was some delay. So I would like to see some more fluidity, from the bobbing and weaving. Blocking was great, however, I felt there was some delay between hitting the block button and getting my hands up. Now, I don't know if that was because of the lag or was just something that was part of the game. Speaking of block, I loved how sometimes I could get through the block depending on which area you're blocking. Using the movement to get away from punches, it was very nice and realistic as well. One thing I wish I was better with the movement is being able to move away and throw a punch. Like, so if you're getting attacked but you're backing up, to kind of use that movement, just throw like a jabber straight out there just to kind of get away, to keep them away a little bit, utilizing your distance. Pivoting maybe under the hook, like, so using your back foot to like circle around them. So like going under hook, spinning off that back foot to create those angles. That's something I wish was a little bit better as well. The stamina system and health system was fine with me the way it worked. I found myself draining a lot of my opponent's stamina because I was not just a headhunter in this. I was mixing up my combo. I was going to the head, then the body, then reverse, and I would go into another combo with like a uppercut to the body or a hook to the body too, and then right to the head, then backing you out, and then coming back in. The damage system does need some work as well, because there were cuts, but there was not much swelling or bruising. Not to the face or the body. Like, the cuts were fine for the face, but there was no bruising on the body. There was no bruising or swelling on the face, I found. There was redness, but no like swollen shut eyes, no fat lips, no broken noses or anything like that, or bloody noses or bloody lips. That needs to be fixed, I feel like. That was something that really bothered me with that. But yeah, like, the knockdown system is also great. I loved everything from being rocked to getting knocked down, to the minigame getting back up. There's no complaints there. I found when I was rocked, though, I could quickly get away from my opponent. They could not get me the entire weekend. I only seen the camos once. On a side note, that I actually won that match by KO. I'd come back and did a counter and rocked them, and then hit body, and then went into the head, knocked him out. I actually didn't lose any matches on that day, on the second day, on day 2, because I felt like I had learned the system well enough to utilize it and I was able to think like a boxer and fight how I fight in real life. One thing is, I found I was getting into slugfest with hooks, like I said, but sometimes, that's boxing. Sometimes you get into slugfests. That happens. Day 3, the final was the final day, so like November 6th was the final day of the beta, and it got extended so everyone could play. The gameplay was pretty smooth. I was still having some lag, but I lost connection almost in all my fights except for 2 of them, because there were still server issues in matchmaking. I think I walked away with those victories, though, the ones I did complete, but it was the worst day for me for matchmaking. I would be in a fight in the first round, would get over, and then we would get back into the fighting, and there would only be a minute of the second round, then it would get disconnected. And of course, this was very, very frustrating for myself, to the point where I was only able to complete 2 fights, and me winning both those was just great, but I would have liked to finish the fights. But my final thoughts on my thoughts and pros and cons of this beta were, the pros were, I got to play Undisputed, a great gameplay, simulation boxing, for the most part, for me. There's a likeness in the boxer's movement, like we got to play as Arturo Gatti, Mickey Ward, sorry, that's the name I was thinking of. And those two, those two fought 3 fights in 13 months, back in the day. And they were brutal slugfests, and the Arturo Gatti danced around a little bit more, utilized the ring a little bit more, while Mickey Ward, he did fight flat-footed, and they represent that in this game. I think it's very cool, the likeness of the boxers and the movement. And it feels like you have to work to your victory, and you can't just spam this game. Also, it's easy to grab, it feels very natural, especially all the buttons. The cons of this beta were matchmaking issues, constant crashings of the servers, losing connections to fights like 8 out of 10 times, and the damage needs some work. Swelling and body bruising need to be added, of course. But overall, I give this beta a 7 out of 10. It's something to very much looking forward to. Myself and people in the Discord are very excited for early access to see what we get with that. Now that I've had the online experience, or like the offline experience of going through a career mode, fighting computers, that's going to be great, and I think that's going to be something that people are also looking forward to being able to use other boxers, such as like Ryan Garcia, Joe Frazier, Rocky Marciano, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and so much more. So I hope everybody enjoys this review. Like I said, this is just review the beta. It's not the final product, but please just keep that in mind. If you like what you hear, go follow me on TikTok at Red Ranger Robin, YouTube Red Ranger Robin, and you can follow me on Instagram there, and Twitter, Red Ranger Robin 1. And you guys have yourself a great day. Bye bye.